Today I am going to show you the detailed process of painting this bust. It's part of a 200mm scale figure of an English Longbowman, which is currently being painted as this video comes out. The figure is so massive and there is so much work to do that I had to split the whole process into episodes, where I show specific moments in much more detail. In my previous video, How to Paint Grounds, I demonstrated the detailed process of creating and painting the base for this figure at the main showcase sample. In this video, I will explain and show my way of painting skin tones using his face as an example. So without further ado, let's get started. My name is Vito, welcome to my humble creative forge. Once on a historical forum, I saw a painted medieval Sallet helmet decorated with flames or sun rays. Ever since then, I got hooked on the idea of finding a suitable figure with that exact type of helmet and painting it. However, a long search led nowhere and the idea stayed on hold for a long time. Until one day I came across this Longbowman figure. And now the dream is coming true. Sallet type helmets were super popular in the late 15th century due to their relative cheapness, good protection and availability through mass production. Their roots go back to the Germanic states of the Holy Roman Empire, and they largely define the look of that era. Iron back then wasn't of high quality and rusted very fast, especially on campaigns and in damp weather. Painting was the best and most practical way to protect the metal, and it was quite common. Besides, not everyone could afford expensive shining armor, so people wore cheap, rough gear. Take the so-called German black helmets as an example. That's why painting served other functions too, everything from decoration to a kind of identification mark. Surviving examples of European sallets from the late 15th century showed that they were covered with special paints, featuring stripes, geometric patterns, or a specific lord's colors. In the 19th century, paint was stripped off many painted helmets of various types, and they were polished so they would look all shiny in museum displays. Today we would call that kind of museum approach vandalism. That's why so few helmets survived in their original form, and this topic isn't very well known to the general public. You can tell how popular it was to paint different patterns on helmets just by looking at modern historical reenactors. They love painting their helmets too. Even after centuries and lifestyle changes, people's views on basic things never change. The figure itself was originally sculpted for several smaller scales than 200mm, and that had a bit of negative impact. On the helmet you can see the imitation of rough forging and proper rivet sizes. On the hood there are tons of folds you can't even see until you actually start painting. At the same time, while the face is well sculpted, it clearly lacks details. The eyebrows are way too thick and big, and there isn't enough texture. Because of this I had to paint wrinkles on his forehead, around his eyes and on his cheeks all by myself. Anyway, scale compromises are inevitable and sometimes necessary. All these flaws aren't a deal breaker, especially considering how rare full historical figures in this scale are. If you have any questions, I will gladly reply in the comment section below. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback about the final result. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the full painting video of this figure and other cool painting projects, from tabletop gaming minis to historical, horror and pop culture characters. I hope you're going to enjoy this video and learn something useful. The whole work took about 4 days of unhurried effort. The eyes were the most tricky part. I spent about 5 hours on them and still didn't quite get the result I wanted. Although eyes have always been a real pain for me and my least favorite part of painting. It's not even about the complexity of painting them, but just the tiny size. I was basically working blind. I also had to go back to the face several times to add new details and wrinkles. Painting the stripes on the helmet took a ton of time too. I was even close to giving up on this design and just making the helmet plain steel. Anyway, the bust is complete, and that's all for today. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time for the painting of the entire figure. Take care.